Hi everyone, this is Danny Class, and today we are going to be looking at the basics on how to do hammer-ons and pull-offs, and hopefully this will help you improve your fingerstyle technique. So the magic really of hammer-ons and pull-offs is that it gives you another way to color the notes and to give them just a different feel than playing them without doing a hammer-on or a pull-off. And I'm going to demonstrate what I mean. If I take my first finger behind the first fret, I'm at an F. And if I play the next note up, just the next half step, with my second finger behind the second fret, this is an F sharp. It sounds like this. Do it again. Again. Which is fine, but another way to play that is to hammer it on, which would sound like this. Sounds different than again, as opposed to. And so with that in mind, there are many possibilities, of course, to hammer on because you have 6 strings and you have multiple fingers. And there's lots of ways you can kind of get what you want. So what I thought I would do for this video would be to just show you how, technique-wise, how to do basic hammer-on. And I will do the first round here from my first and second finger. And so the key to the hammer-on, regardless of the finger you're using, is to time it in a certain way. And so you have to, if you've been playing a while, you have to kind of unlearn what you've been doing with your right hand to keep plucking for a string, because we're really, with a hammer-on, at least for this lesson, you're only hitting it once. And that's it. Once you hit the note, your right hand is done, and then the rest of the work will be done on the left hand with the hammer-on. So here's what I mean. Going off the other example, I will play the F, and then I press down on the hammer-on, which is in this case, the second finger behind the second fret. And it's okay to kind of give it a pause when you're learning. That would be a basic hammer-on. Which maybe doesn't sound too musically interesting, but when it comes to composing and when it comes to just playing in general, it's a very effective tool. So what I'll do is I will do how about that same basic pattern, and I'll just go down the strings. So on the second string, it's from C to C sharp. Third string from G sharp to A. Give it a little vibrato. D sharp to E on the fourth string, A sharp to B on the fifth string, and how about back to where we were before, just the octave, F to F sharp on the low E string. And one feels out of tune. So by the way, the bass string, when you hammer on and do pull-offs, they generally, depending on the scale length of your guitar, but with a kind of a standard scale, I guess, which is longish here, they're a little harder to do, and so it'll take some time, I think, if you're new to this, just to kind of keep practicing to get that finger strength. Okay, so that is the basic hammer-on from the 1 to the 2 finger. You can hammer on from 1 to your 3 finger, so that's a full step. In this case, from the F to the G. Same strings that I did before, C to the D, G sharp to A sharp, D sharp to F. See, you can't hear it as well, can you? So that one takes more gumption, more effort, more conscious effort. Maybe a little more of a pause too. Let it ring. Etc., etc. And that can be done up and down the fretboard, like I said, in various ways. You can hammer on from index finger, first finger to pinky. I'll just do it here from the 5th to the 8th. It's a little harder. There you go. The other thing to think about is that once you do that hammer-on, you know, what do you do with the finger behind? Can you take it off? You can, but it's probably not best practice to do that because of some other techniques you can learn involving double hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's good to kind of keep that finger down. Okay, so the backwards version, I guess, the reverse version of the hammer-on would be the pull-off. And a pull-off is going from well, it's kind of difficult to explain actually, but basically you're going from one note to another, but instead of playing them, and in this case from F sharp to F, down, right? We're going down in pitch. The pull-off is always that. Instead of doing that, you hit the string that you're first playing, in this case the F sharp, your right hand is done, and then you want to pull off to get to the next note down. And so there's two things going on with this, and I think the pull-off is probably more complicated because there's well, at least some more steps with your left hand. The first thing to keep in mind is when you pull off, the note you're pulling off to, in this case the F, has to already be pressed down. So you're already pressing down with two fingers. In this case, the first finger on the F and the second finger on the F sharp where we're starting. The other challenge for new guitars is to get kind of a clean sound, because I think a lot of people who are doing this perhaps for the first time might pull up or pop up, and you don't quite get that clean sound. So here would be it's not really the right term, but a pop up. Can't quite hear it as well, as opposed to. Okay, so the technique here is very subtle, but basically when you pull off, you're pulling off, yes, but you're also kind of pulling down and down off the fretboard. It's almost like a notch kind of feel to it. That's very important because otherwise that note you're pulling off to, in this case the F, won't be heard. Let's give an example off the second string. I'm pulling now off from the C sharp, and I'll be pulling off to the C, and here it is. Notch down, notch it down, down, down. Don't pop up, because if I pop up, you'll hear this. It's just weaker, you know. You don't want that. It's almost frustrating, right? You want to hear that clean C. Similarly, going from the third string, going from the A to the G sharp, pull off, kind of notch it down, and kind of, you know, really, if you're new to it, get a little pain there on that. In this case, the second finger, you'll get that callus. If you can see, there's even like a line on my finger that's from the string. It doesn't hurt. It's just something that we kind of deal with as guitarists, but it does not hurt. Okay, anyway, off the fourth string, they get harder than the bass strings for sure. Pull-offs are even harder than hammer-ons. So you have to really kind of viscerally get in there. And, you know, the low E's even, etc. So that is the basics of the pull-off. And one exercise you might want to think about doing is for every hammer-on, then try a pull-off. So let's try off what we were doing before from the F to the F sharp. Here's the hammer-on. And then pull-off. All right. If it gets kind of boring, move the whole thing up and go from the F sharp to the G. Hammer on, and then pull off. G sharp, or G to the F sharp. G to the G sharp, still in the first string. G sharp to the G, etc., etc. And then, if once you get that, and that'll take some time if you're new, just to kind of get the strength on your left hand, would be to try within one stroke of the string a hammer on and a pull off. It really helps if you hit the note pretty hard, or at least with a lot of intention on your right hand to kind of get it started. It should be a robust note. Move it all up. Hammer on, pull off, etc. So, of course, there are many, many other ways to elaborate this technique. I'm a big fan of it. I love them, actually. I think it was once when I learned the Led Zeppelin song, Over the Hills and Far Away, when I first started. I forget how it goes. You can probably correct me. But that can be a really good way to kind of elaborate your technique on the left hand and make your playing more interesting. And I think what I'll be doing in the weeks to come would be to post some more lessons on maybe intermediate and some more advanced techniques for hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you found it useful. And please remember to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.